The Walhalla Sixth Grade Class presents The Grinch Who Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss.
Every who died in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch who just lived north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight.
But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his height was 2 sizes too small.
But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the blues. Staring down from his table at the sour grapes dawn at the warm light of windows below in their town. For he knew every Buddha and Buddha beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his glinchy fingers, nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew.
All the 2 girls and boys would wake up bright and early. They rushed for the toys, and then...
Oh, the noise! Oh, the noise, 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 noise! That's one thing he hated, the noise. Noise!
Noise.
Noise!
Then the Who's young and old would sit down to a feast.
And they'd feast. And they'd feast. And they'd feast. Feast.
Feast.
Feast. They would feast on hoobity and rare roast beast.
which was something the Grinch couldn't stand at the least.
And then they'd do something he liked least of all.
Every Who down in Whoville, tall and small, would stand close together with the Christmas bell ringing, and they'd stand hand in hand. And the Who's would start singing.
They sing.
And they'd sing.
And they sing.
Sing, sing, sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought.
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea.
An awful idea.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea!
I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat.
And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat.
And he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found.
Did that stop the old Grinch?
No!
The Grinch simply said.
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max.
Then he looked for some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head.
Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on the ramshack sleigh.
And he hitched up old Max.
Then the Grinch said,
Get out!
and the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air.
All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square,
This is stop number 1.
The old Grinchy Claus hissed.
And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist.
Then he slid down the chimney a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it,
Then so could the Grinch.
this he got stuck only once for a moment or two.
Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue where the little Who's stockings all hung in a row. These stockings
he grinned.
are the first things to go.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant. Around the whole room, he took every present.
Pop guns
And bicycles.
Roller skates, drums, checkerboards, and tricycles. Popcorn!
and plums, and he stuck them in bags.
Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney.
Then he slunk to the icebox.
He took the Who's feast.
He took the Who's pudding.
He took the roast beef. Oh, he cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash.
The Grinch even took their last can of Who Hash.
Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now
And the Grinch.
I will stop up the tree.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree. He started to shove.
When he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove, He turned around fast and he saw a small Who.
Little Cindy Lou Who.
Who was not one of the two. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who dog who got out of her cup full of water. She stared at the Grinch and said,
Santa Claus, why are you taking out a Christmas tree? Why?
But you know the Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought of a lie.
You thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little tot?
the fake Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back to you. And his spook pulled the child, and he patted her head and got her a drink and sent her to bed.
And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up.
Then the last thing he took was the log for the fire.
Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar.
On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and then some speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mice.
It was 1:15.
All the Who's still abed, all the Who's still asleep.
When he packed up his sled,
Packed up with their presents,
the whippings,
the wrappings,
The day and the tinsel,
The trimmings.
the trappings. 3,000 feet up.
Up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip top to dump it.
Pooh, pooh to the Who's.
He grinchishly was humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise.
Then the Grinch.
That I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow.
It started low, then it started to grow.
but the sound wasn't sad.
Why this sound sounded merry.
It couldn't be so, but it was merry.
Very!
He stared down at Whoville.
The Grinch popped his eyes.
Then he shook.
What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing, with any presents at all. It hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came.
Somehow or another, it came just the same.
And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow.
Stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore.
Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought.
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
And what happened then?
Well, in Whoville, they say the Grinch his small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light.
He brought back the toys and the food for the feast.
And
He himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef.
Merry Christmas! Wow!
He's a mean one.
Mr. Grinch!